Alright, now that you've got a better understanding of this user interface in PowerPoint, it's time to start using it. And what I mean by that is changing up the way we view our presentation, for example, in the interface itself. Now by default, what you're looking at here is called the normal view. If you don't have a presentation open right now, to get caught up with us, go up to your Office button, give it a click, click Open, navigate to the Lesson 1 folder of your exercise files and open up this one here, Introducing ECP. So with that selected, you'll click your Open button. Now in this normal view that you see, we can change up the way we view our presentation just by clicking a couple of buttons. We can do that from the bottom right hand corner down here where we've got some view buttons, and you can see down here the normal button is selected. The next one over is called the slide sorter, and when we click that, what we see is actually just the thumbnails of our presentation, and this is an ideal view for sorting our slides. So if we wanted to move them around and change their position, we could do that easily in this view. The last view button down at the bottom is actually the slide show view, so clicking this button is what would display our presentation on screen. So we'll save that one for later and go back to the normal view. Now another way to change up your view is to actually go to the View tab up here on the ribbon. So let's give it a click. So there's our normal view right there. It's selected right now. There's the slide sorter, and there's the slide show button that we saw in the bottom right corner. There's also a Notes Pages view. When we click on that, we're going to see a thumbnail of our presentation, and we'll have an area down below where we can add speaker notes. So these can be printed out later on if you were to, for example, be giving a presentation where you're up at a podium and you wanted to have notes with you. Let's go back to the normal view here for a second. Brings us back to the default. Now if I didn't want this navigation pane showing up here on my screen, I could close it by clicking the Close button. Question is, how do I get it back? You go back up to the normal button, even though it's selected, you give it a click to bring back your navigation pane. Now also at the bottom of our screen, you may have noticed that there's an area that says Click to Add Notes. Now by default, you're not viewing a large portion of this notes section, but there are borders that can be dragged. So as I move up to the border between my slide and my notes view, I can see this double arrow. That means that when I click and hold my mouse button down, I can drag that to increase the notes area, and you can see what happens. My slide is resized so it fits in the screen. Of course, I can drag that back down the exact same way. I go to the border, click and drag it down. Same goes for over here on the left-hand side with my navigation pane. If I want more of it, I can click and drag to the right. If I want less, I drag to the left. Now, there's some zoom options too that you need to know about, and we can go to the zoom group here on our ribbon if we wanted to zoom to a specific level. We click the zoom button, and then we would choose, for example, 100% to see the actual size of our slide. Click OK to see that change. The problem is the entire slide doesn't fit on our screen here, and we need to use these scroll bars to look at the various parts of our slide. So the Fit to Window button will bring it back so it fits nicely inside the currently selected window size. Now an even easier way to zoom around is to come down here to the zoom slider, and you can see right now the zoom level is set to 68%. That's what will allow my slide to be viewed in its entirety. But by clicking and dragging this zoom slider, I can zoom in by going to the right and zoom out by going to the left. Of course, I can use the minus button to zoom out, and the plus button with each click zooms in a little bit. So just another way to zoom around your presentation. This will become handy when we start to add things to a slide where we want to zoom in to check out the detail or work on the detail of a portion of our slide. Up here on the View tab, we've also got some other sections here that we'll be looking at later, like Slide Master, Handout Master, and Notes Master. So any changes we make to a master affects all of our presentations going forward. We can also view or hide rulers and grid lines. So by clicking the ruler checkbox here, you can see I now have a horizontal ruler across the top, and I've got a vertical one down the left-hand side, and that'll help me with measurements. If I needed to draw a box on my slide that's exactly 1 inch by 1 inch in the center of the slide, I could use my ruler to get to the center where I've lined up the zeros and then start to draw whatever it is I need to draw. It's great for aligning things, whether it's text or objects. Remember, you've got the ruler at your fingertips here. To hide it, we just deselect it by clicking the same checkbox. Grid lines is another way to help you line items up. So if I wanted my text to line up perfectly with any other objects I might add to a slide, having these grid lines allows me to visually maneuver things by clicking and dragging them to line them up along these grid lines. Again, to hide that, we simply click the same checkbox we clicked to turn them on. So that covers actually using our interface. In the next lesson, we're going to start navigating through a presentation.